So question. I used to debate. We're gonna freestyle right now. So
Yeah.
and it was just while you were talking, I was thinking about something. So an argument I've had with so many people, mainly my people on that, because all the Manny fans, all the Pac-Man fans, all the Pac-Man fans, all the Chavez fans, the original Chavez, the father, not the junior.
Right.
All the fans of the Floyds and all that stuff, it's gonna be an argument every time. But so going back, we're gonna go old school. So Meldrick Taylor and Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that fight?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you know how much I fight with my people about that fight? They're like,
all right. This is gonna be a good topic. Cause I have two completely different understandings of that fight.
yeah.
All right. Number one, let me say, Meldrick Taylor came from. I knew who he was as shit. I was young how old we was when they fought? We the same age. How old they were? How old were you when that happened?
Oh man, I was boxing. Hold on, let me see. Ooh, I gotta go way back.
It's like 1990, huh?
It was definitely in the 90s because that's when you had.
But like 90 or 91.
No, it was
huh?
the 90s. It had to be in the 90s because 90s that's when the 90s was like popping.
Yeah, but I'm saying that particular fight had to be the early 90s, like 90, 91, huh? Wasn't no later than that, huh?
I'm not sure about that. You got me thinking about it now. So now
I'm gonna
pull that shit up.
All right. Irregardless, we know it was in the 90s. So at the time, you got to remember, man, my two favorite fighters on planet Earth are Pernell Whitaker and Tommy Hearns. So Pernell Whitaker, and you can add Holyfield to that too. Those guys came from, to me, the greatest Olympic class. I know people a little older than us think the 76 class, which was a great class.
Man,
but for me, that 84, what about 84? 84 class, the LA Olympic with Pernell Whitaker and them, that was about 84.
Yeah, huh? that was probably one.
All right, I think that's the best class ever. And
that's what me and my coach also agreed on too. We still always, that's the main class he always brought up. He said, and that's when Pernell Whitaker, when I first learned about Pernell Whitaker, he was like, out of all those guys, that guy is the one that's gonna be the best pro out of all of them. But they all
all-time greats, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So to this day, 2020, bro, I still believe Meldrick Taylor is the fastest fighter in his prime that I ever seen. Now, that's including Roy Jones, who's so fast you can't see it. Sugar Ray Leonard, he's so fast you can't. All those guys.
Sugar Ray Leonard. No, hold on. Roy Jones and Meldrick Taylor probably had the same speed. They just applied it differently.
Okay.
Roy would apply it in spurts. Boom. He'll go out of nowhere. Meldrick Taylor, he'll wash you up with 1,000 punches that you couldn't see.
So with that said, it isn't like Meldrick Taylor's my favorite fighter, man, but to me, he's the fastest hands I ever seen in boxing. But
March 17th, 1990. That's when they fought in Las Vegas, Nevada.
1990. Boy, look at that noodle, boy.
Yeah, but so hey, you're still young.
Yeah. So I said, so at the time, I remember saying, "Oh, that's so fucked up, man. This dude beat the great Chavez, and they took it from him, right? Because I forget how many seconds was on the clock. Like,
oh, now I see what you're getting to because there's two sides of. Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
All right,
keep going.
So at the time, I remember thinking, "Oh shit, I don't want to confuse," because I felt they robbed Sweet super bad. Was that after or before?
No, not Sweet Pea. We're talking about Meldrick Taylor and Chavez.
No. I'm saying what did Sweet Pea and Chavez fight before the Meldrick Taylor fight?
They fought afterwards, if I'm correct.
Okay, I didn't want to confuse them. Yeah. So I remember saying, at that time that they robbed Meldrick Taylor, he deserved to finish the fight on his feet. Whatever happens, happens. And it was only a few seconds or whatever it was. And then, so going into the fight with my all-time favorite fighter, and then they completely rob him and give him a draw in San Antonio. I said, I really.
You talking about Sweet Pea?
Yeah, I said I really hate Chavez now. So, but that was back then. I watched that fight again a couple years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, because my partner, Jaime Martinez, who works with me in the corners and stuff, right?
Oh yeah. With the
he's a super Chavez fan, like most Mexican American fan. He's
top dog.
He talked him up so much that I was like, it's funny how a guy who wasn't even a blip on my radar is he's a whole section of humanity's hero, right? So I said, I need to watch Chavez more, right? So I went to watching him and shit, and it's funny because I would tell Jaime, whatever particular fight, I would say, man, that fucking Chavez was bad, huh? That was a body punching motherfucker, man. And he would laugh and say, you supposed to know that. And I said, I hear you, but I just wasn't no Chavez guy. So I get to the Meldrick Taylor fight because I say I'm gonna rewatch that fight with 20 more years of experience being around boxing, right? So I'm watching the fight, and bro, I'm gonna tell you something, man. That I didn't see watching it live. I almost told Jaime, I said, man, has Julio Cesar Chavez ever got caught loading his gloves and shit? And he said, what? I said, fuck, that's a punching motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I said, he systematically chopped Taylor down. While losing the fight. He was losing the rounds.
He lost every round.
He was losing the rounds, but he systematically was punishing that dude. And I said, I know Richard Steele wasn't watching the clock. You know, he was watching the fight. He's in there with them too. And I said, I could see how Taylor, bro, was getting changed, man. He was getting changed in there, bro.
He was. Internal bleeding. Right.
So I said, man, I can't. At the end of it, I said, Taylor didn't, Richard Steele didn't fuck up stopping that fight. He was just more concerned about the fight and seeing the punishment he was going through. And it just so happens they only had a few seconds on the clock. And it ended up being the worst stoppage for Meldrick Taylor. But I'm going to tell you something. Meldrick Taylor was never the same after that fight, ever.
Oh, no, they fought again, and it was like,
right.
They did fight a second time. It was not.
So
what happened is that they took all his confidence away from him.
Completely.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna let you continue. Finish up. You know.
Yeah. Let me make this point.
Yeah.
Meldrick Taylor was ruined that night, and it's sad. If they didn't stop the fight, he would have won on points. So at least he would have got that win over Julio Cesar Chavez, undefeated Julio Cesar Chavez, and he was a great fighter, Meldrick Taylor. But I've got to lean back on my own understanding of boxing and say the better athlete don't always win against the better boxer. And Julio Cesar Chavez never tried to compete with Meldrick Taylor on speed and shit. He just kept coming forward and chopping him down. Kept putting them gloves on anything he could hit, arms, elbows, shoulders, anything he could do. And by the time that fight ended, looking at Taylor's face, looking at the abuse he took, and how he was just a shell of himself after that fight.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand why, whether I agree or not, I understand why Richard still stopped it. And I understand Julio Cesar Chavez greatness. I understand. I get what he was great at, and I get why he's so revered. And he was an action-packed fighter. You know, my definition of Mexican style is not Chavez. So that may be against people's mind, but I think Chavez is more educated than that.
He was
Than
okay.
just
So
leaning forward and throwing them round punches and taking shots.
he's what I call a better technical, a more technical Duran
Well,
with technique, because
I won't go that far, but I'll say,
yeah, okay, well, that's fine, you know.
yeah, I'll say he was definitely a technical fighter, and he shouldn't be reduced to Mexican style fight. I don't believe that shit. That dude was great, man. Julio Cesar Chavez is great. Now, it's just because I hold Roberto Duran so high, I'm not going to compare the two. I think Roberto Duran walks him, but that's me. Go ahead. What you think?
I know. So, and we can't see, before I speak about Meldrick Taylor and Chavez, people always ask me, who's your favorite fighter? I'm like, first thing I say, bro, they're like, I'm like, Pernell Whitaker, duh. But then I tell them at the same time, like, look, I have favorite fighters in different categories, because there's brawlers and there's boxers. So you can't, you know, so in this category, I do this person, but we'll talk about that later.
Go ahead.
So anyways, okay, so when I saw that fight, I was young. It was back in what did I say?
90.
It was a 90, right? So shoot, that was 5 years before I turned pro. I was like 13. Oh dang. I think I was like 13 years old, something like that. Anyways, okay, so when I saw that fight, there was a bunch of Hispanic people, you know, definitely all people that were Hispanic, right? And they're like, no way, yeah, like, yeah, Viva Mexico and shit, you know, and I'm like, damn, you know, I'm like, and remember, I started off learning how to brawl. My first 6 years of boxing as an amateur, I brawled. I was walking down. My coach basically put a smoking Joe Frazier style on me, because I can teach so many different styles. It's crazy, but it depends on the person. So he had me, because I was his favorite heavyweight. Not Muhammad Ali. Oh, he loved Larry Holmes because of that jab. Ooh. He said he had the prettiest jab in boxing history. Anyways, so when I saw that fight, I was like, okay, so in the rules of now, we're doing 12 rounds. If a guy gets up, there was no more seconds left in the round. The fight was over. He got up, and he was looking at his t-shirt. I think he was trying to look at his corner or whatever. And Richard Steele said, no, that's it. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's so wrong.
I was the same way when it happened.
Now, if it was 15-round rules, then yeah, he would have stopped it. That would have been okay, but we're going by the new rules in boxing, 12 rounds. If you don't stop a guy, if a guy gets up, now if you knock the guy out, then that's different. It's kind of like the same thing, kind of like what they did with Tyson Fury and Wilder. Didn't he get knocked down? In that rep, but see the ref, well, that's a different story. I'm not even gonna go there. But he got back up, and I still thought he won the fight. But everybody is like, no way. So that's the same way I feel about Taylor and Chavez. But I've had some crazy disputes, man. I'm talking about like almost one where I had some of my people not even talk to me ever again. Like it was that bad. They're like, because remember, my coach was black. So he trained me. He was, man, gosh, if you would actually really have talked to him, just sit down with him, you would just love to talk to him, because he can, even if you never boxed in your life before, if you talk to him for 1 hour, you never met him, you'll feel like you knock anybody out in the world. Anybody. He had some crazy. He had a crazy way of expressing himself and how to make you give you just confidence that you can't just get. Some people have it, some people just don't. Some people need it. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. My nephew, he had no confidence when he started boxing. Zero. And this, little by little, he started getting up there.
Building up.
Anyway, but that was my coach. He had the type of power. But anyways, so you feel like Meldrick Taylor lost that fight?
No. Up until he got stopped, which is what Richard Steele decided to do, right? Wave it off. He absolutely won the boxing match round for round. Absolutely. I just didn't give Chavez enough credit as a young guy watching the fight initially. Not being a Chavez fan, not really seeing it. I was a Taylor fan when they fought. I'm rooting for the American. So watching it back as a 20-year trainer now, I had different eyes, and I said, I see what Chavez did by not trying to compete. He didn't try to outbox Meldrick Taylor because he knew. I'm sure he knew I can't. I just got to keep battering this dude and hopefully stop it.
Yeah, he just went ahead.
But what I will say is, if Richard Steele wouldn't have stopped the fight, I'd have been happy because I was rooting for Meldrick Taylor. But in hindsight, Chavez ruined Meldrick Taylor that night.